All right, we're here in Santa Rosa, California, at my law office, PJAMM Law, with my friend Tayler Hockett and my soon-to-be training mentor. I have been cycling for a long time, and I started slowing down about a year ago. I really didn't know what was going on. I thought it was age. It probably is a little bit of that. I also have a mitral valve, a leaking mitral valve, so I thought maybe that was it. And then it turned out that I have lymphoma, a form of cancer, but it's a good prognosis. I just have to go through 6 months of chemotherapy, 6 cycles, 2 infusion each cycle, and I just started my second cycle, and it's tough. It really is tough training while you're on chemotherapy, and I've never used a trainer before, but I do need. I feel like I could use a lifeline in addition to the chemotherapy, which is necessarily a lifeline. So I've asked Tayler. Taylor's a trainer. He's a great athlete and triathlete. We've known each other for years. Where did we meet? Not on Bumble, I hope.
No, we didn't. Good God, no, we did not meet on Bumble. Hold on. What is the leaky valve that you were talking about? That I don't know what that is, and I'm guessing a lot of people may not.
Oh, it's a mitral valve. It's just a valve in your heart.
Okay.
And I have a moderately leaking heart valve, mitral valve, it happens to be, and that affects your blood flow. So I thought that might have been an explanation. It probably is to some degree, but the big explanation for my deterioration was the cancer.
Yeah. So it's the cancer in that we're keeping tabs on with the training.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we met on top of Bald Mountain. There's a mountain here.
Hey,
it's
that's not a reference to.
Well, there might be other bald references later. But that was one that I was running up a lot. And I think it was later in the day, and I had run up, and I'd ridden my cross bike up there a bunch and never really seen anyone else riding. And I'm at the top. I see this guy just spinning his way up to the top, and then
a 42 cassette will do that.
Yeah, there's a dinner plate in the back. And I remember thinking, that guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And we met there.
Move.
And I think it was not that long after that we went for some big ride. You got me out I remember the first ride that we went on was New Year's morning. But it was we met at 6 in the morning or something.
No, you blocked it out. You blocked it out because it was well before that. So Bald Mountain's the hardest climb in Sonoma County. It's nasty. So on the New Year's, our first big ride was to do the 3 top climbs in the North Bay. So we did Mount St. Helena, which is the top in Napa, 4,000 feet, gnarly. We went through snow in the morning to see the sunrise, and then we went down and did Mount Tam in Marin County, and we went over to Contra Costa in Cotton County. I finished it dark. It was dark. We didn't, but.
I finished with you. There was a slight
kind of you.
Yeah, there was a slight concern of we need to get home. It is cold and dark, and
that's right. I had the keys.
You did. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was maybe 7 years ago. And then since then we've done a lot of stuff. Tayler and I have traveled all through the United States, cycling, documenting climbs, and then we've done some pretty gnarly challenges. One of the big, Glacier Point ride cycling to Half Dome, running up to Half. He ran, I hiked slowly. But the big one was Badwater, 282 feet below sea level in Death Valley, ride 135 miles to Whitney Portal, and then run up to the top of Whitney, and that was the big one. I mean, I didn't do the whole thing because it was 116 degrees when we started.
I was going to say, even the numbers don't do justice starting at 116 degree heat and dirt and gravel the last climb. Yeah, that was...
Yeah, so we've done a lot of that stuff, and so I trust Tayler, and we're going to get into how he's going to help me later in this interview here. But I've gone through the cancer, and it's tough. It really is tough, and I have to be realistic about it and not naive about the limitations that my body will experience and is experiencing. But I do have certain goals, and I want Tayler to help me achieve those goals to the extent they're possible. And you have a background that kind of lends itself to that.
Yeah. In coaching, not a doctor, not a nutritionist, but I have that background in coaching, so I can help out with the coaching aspect. And it really helps knowing, other than coaching, I'm a counselor, and so of course, knowing your personality type really helps in figuring out what's going to be the best type of program for you. Because I think leading up to the cancer, your mentality was just go full gas, go as hard as I can, work out every day, like this is my goal, I'm just going to get there. And so I think with this is going to be, we've talked about incorporating recovery and balancing out those hard weeks and those easy weeks. But yeah, my background is I ran cross country and track in high school and in college, and ran competitively for a while, and moved up here to Santa Rosa, Sonoma County, and hooked up with a cycling team, and was on a cycling team for a while, and really enjoyed that. And that kind of led to triathlon. I was on the Sonoma State triathlon team for a while and did short distance, and then moved into long distance with, success in both of those. And, then moved into doing some personal coaching, mainly with running. And then I coached for about 6 years the Sonoma State triathlon team, and have coached triathlon since then. And recently have coached cross country and track specifically. But have
We've
raced.
also competed at a high level too, and successfully.
Yeah.
In PJAMM gear, I might add.
Definitely in PJAMM, almost solely in PJAMM spandex. I did, had a lot of success running, and had some success in bike racing, but I think bike racing kind of was the bridge between running and triathlon. And when I was in college and coaching, we focused on short distance triathlon, and, went full gas with that, and won a lot of short distance races and series, and then got into the long stuff, and was able to be successful in, winning Ironman races, and placing in a lot of full distance Ironman races, and also having some tough long distance races. It's a balance. You have the good days and the bad days.
Yeah, you did that super long one up in Alaska.
Good
was
God,
nasty,
I try
right?
to forget about that one.
Yeah, well, that's one of those like ultra triathlons, right?
Yeah, finished, but not. That's one where you just learn from it. But the cool thing about triathlon is, like, you have an experience like that where you're just shelled and beat up at the end, and you learn from it. And then that was, my next two races were from the gun, leading a short distance triathlon in my hometown area, on a course that I just loved, and being able to win that with a gnarly run. So that was great. And then the week after that, winning an Ironman. And so those, in the same season, you get those peaks and valleys of feeling lousy and then feeling really great.
Well, both of those wins that you had were valleys for me, because when I received the photographs that I asked for at the end, you had your PJAMM jersey down around your waist. So
that's true.
we'll have to work on getting that thing
That's
up,
true.
and marketing and branding and all that stuff.
In my defense, it was about 90 degrees, and I had it rolled down. I just wanted to breathe a little bit.
That's an excuse, not a defense, Taylor.
That's true.
Speaking of gear, then we've designed PJAMM Cycling Over Cancer jerseys and T-shirts, which I'm really happy about. Sam, who does our designs, just did a wonderful job.
Yeah, those are awesome. I know. I saw that when I came in, and I'm like, I gotta.
Really good stuff.
I'm excited to see how those jerseys turn out too.
Mm-hmm. They're going to be nice, very nice. They're being shipped now. So, so that's your background. This is me.
Mm-hmm.
My training. What I do is different than what you do, Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, you go out and you go for it and you try and win, and all I'm trying to do is get up the mountain,
Mhm.
enjoy it, the
Mhm.
scenery,
Mhm.
take photographs so I can share and video so I can share
Yeah.
it with people.
Yeah.
And so I pretty much get to rest 50 times while I'm riding up the mountain.
Yeah.
But I have to do it every day, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes
Yeah.
we do, I mean, we go weeks. I mean, this is not an exaggeration, at 4 to 8,000 feet a day, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
really
but
not
like when
killing you because you're going
we
slow.
were on the East Coast, that was like 2 weeks of basically just straight climbing for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did 12 states. We started in
Yeah.
New York. Well, I don't even remember where we started, but New York, and we ended up in Vermont, New Hampshire,
Mhm.
et cetera, and ended up in Georgia.
Mhm.
So yeah,
But-
you're on the road and doing it day after day after day. So it's a little different.
But
So-
that's
Mhm.
it's a great point because any training plan is really specific for what your goal is. And your goal is ultimately in July and later kind of have that like intermediate goal of July being able to do a big ride
Mhm.
and then later doing some more trips.
Yeah.
And so your training is geared towards being able to be out for 5 to 10 days of long, slow, just kind of grinding
Mhm.
style riding and being able to get on and off the bike and have heavy weight. You're not
Yeah,
you're not riding a
backpack and the
lightweight,
drone and all that.
which is totally different than if you're planning to do some criterium racing or you're trying to do a short distance triathlon or a long distance triathlon. Like those are all very specific goals, and so it's important to train towards that goal.